The social contributions of the Sudanese Sufis. It is my pleasure welcoming you, dear audience, in this new episode, which revolves around the contributions of Sufis and their social role in Sudan. This episode is an introduction to a number of subsequent episodes in which we intended to highlight the role and social contributions played by Sufis in the country. Since social issues are always present among Sufis alongside spiritual, religious, and educational issues, probably one of the main reasons why Sufism has persisted over the years from its inception or introduction during the French Sultanate in 1504-1821 to the present is that the Sufis focused their efforts on addressing social problems in their practical form. At the very least, these social issues can range in shape and content from a quarrel between an individual to an individual or a conflict between tribes and another. Experiences and facts have been demonstrated that Sufis are becoming more and more integrated with the local populace than the political regimes that have governed the nation or the country up to this time. Tracing back the Sudanese Sufis' impact in the country, it is noticeable experiencing the social roles that played and still continue by Sufis in the country. The social roles of the Sufi orders take on different patterns. Nonetheless, this does not apply to all Sufi orders. Some of the roles are played by some Sufi orders, whereas other orders may not play the same roles. Some of the orders play all social roles, whereas others limit their activities to specific social jobs. The nature of the social roles played by the Sufi orders differs because their nature mainly depends on the financial capabilities of each order. Most of the social roles that will be discussed in detail here depend on social solidarity and the ability of the orders to penetrate the social and tribal environment of given regions. The scope of the activities of the orders also differs. Strong relations between the orders and tribes give these orders the ability to widen the scope of their activities in the areas controlled by these tribes. These relations also give the orders the ability to spread social peace. Some of the leaders of the orders are charismatic, which gives them the chance to influence the communities where their orders are active. African Sufis, with their knowledge, morality, and being a trader, notes the regional texture, try to understand their interlocutors, produce services specific to the conditions of the region, and try to meet the expectations of the people. In Africa, Zawaya or Zawiyas means life. In Africa, Zawaya or Zawiya means to keep alive, to give, to show interest, to love, to serve, and to win hearts. Lodges in Africa, lands, functions also at the madrasa or school, clinic, furthermore, guest house, trade center, mosque, security establishment, and courthouse. The degree of institutionalization of the orders varies widely. Some are highly informal associations with gathering in private homes. Others have permanent lodges, zawaya, kangaka, taqi. for retreats and congregational devotions, which also function as free hostels for disciples from elsewhere, and a permanent staff. In the 20th century, several orders adopted the trappings of a modern organization, with explicit rules and regulations for membership and bureaucratic offices. See Martin van Prinsen, Sufism, Popular Islam, and the Encounter with Modernity, Edinburgh University Press, 2009, page 5. Since the early of its arrival to the land of Sudan, Tasawwuf has left its apparent living impact on all the spheres of the local inhabitants. The contribution of Tasawwuf could be found in the religious, social, economic, and artistic domain. The followers of the Sufi way have been engaged in societal concerns since its founding. As a result, they have developed a discourse regarding the nature of society and have worked to instill values and virtues in it, all the while being intensely eager to disseminate the spirit of appreciation. In many cases, the Nicholas for a settlement is perceived to be a religious sheikh. Around the sheikh religious school, a village would develop, which systematically and gradually developed into a town. On his death, a sheikh would be buried in a gubba or tomb. This became a visitation site for the sheikh followers in a town, which would by then have grown into an urban center of significance. That was the view of Amira Osman in her study space, place and meaning in northern Riverian Sudan, available at ResearchGate. It is a published paper in that website. In the Sudan, the religious brotherhoods also played an important social role. In a country like the Sudan, traditionally divided by tribal loyalties, the brotherhoods have in some respects functioned as a social force, cutting tribal lines and binding members of different tribes and lineage together as spiritual brothers. Sufi tariqas or religious orders maintain a tradition of brotherhood that knew no tribal limits, nor geographical boundaries or even political frontiers. Their followers often journeyed for weeks, traveled for weeks in order to visit their shuyukh. Hence, religious orders were of immense value in promoting a sense of fraternity and integration among the people of the Sudanic belt. See Yusuf Fadul Hassan, some aspects of the relationships between Western and Central بلاد السودان, دراسات أفريقية, issue 10, December 1993, page 59. The Sufi Islam has played an important role in the emergence and demographic composition of many Sudanese communities. The Sufi leaders contributed to the appearance of numerous Sudanese towns and big villages as the called Sanet's miracles, that were some of their attributes had made many people migrate to the places where these leaders were residing. One example of such town is at Damar in northern Sudan. As Muhammad Nugud said, the Sufi leaders during the era of the Foreign Kingdom became representatives of the spiritual power, which enabled them to benefit a lot economically. Refer to Abdul Qadir al-Haj Mustafa Muhammad al-Ajami, religion and socio-economic and political realities in the town of Kassala, Eastern Sudan, PhD, research, Proposal in Social Anthropology, March 2017. With the appearance of Sufism as a religious and social movement transcending tribal boundaries, we can see an attempt to forge unity at the ideological level. A Sudanese historian notes that under the umbrella of Sufism, stability and a sense of unity and integration was realized by the people who lived in the territory of the Foreign Kingdom, and it was sustained for a considerable part of the region of the Foreign Kingdom that lasted for 3 centuries. Almost all the subjects of the Foreign Kingdom were involved in Sufi sects, and it was rare to find any who were not influenced by Sufism in their life. That is the view of Idris Salim al-Hassani, his study in Mary Toruk, 1985, page 11. We can cite as evident that Sufism was starting to replace tribal ideologies, the fact that Sufi Shuyukh began to replace tribal leaders in dealing local issues. Moreover, Sufism succeeded in settling its own differences with the parallel juristic culture and finally assimilated it. Sufism continued to develop within its own internal logic and its relation to the tribal ideology. This development was appropriately halted by the Turkish invasion of 1821. That is the view of Mahmoud al-Zain, Tribe and Religion in the Sudan, 1996. I would like to remind you, dear audience, that just I'm presenting the introduction about the contribution of the Sudanese Sufis. The Sufi center in the Sudan is identified by the name of the Sheikh, which covers the whole area, which in most cases is a village. Many villages in the Sudan started as Sufi centers. The development of this center into a village is largely caused by the readiness of the Tariqa to accept associate members who form the group of the general followers. In most cases, some of the poor people who depend for their living upon the center may decide to stay permanently. So they are given small plots of land near the center, and houses may be built at the expense of the sheikh. The first Shuyukh of the Sudan contributed to the establishment of villages and the settlement of many people who used to move from one place to another. Those Shuyukh of the Sufism were respected by the authorities of their time because their effect in controlling the people was realized. It may be seen below that many of these urban centers developed through systematic planning on the part of the Shuyukh, but it is true that most of them were under limited governmental control. The Sheikh here may be considered as a founder through a deliberate act of creating an urban center. It needs to be emphasized here that many Sudanese towns, and as we have stated, many Sudanese towns and villages were attributed in their very establishment to the Sufi efforts throughout the different epochs of the arrival of Sufism into the country. The establishment of religious centers in Sudan, then equally for many urban centers, was greatly influenced by Sudanese Sufism. Spiritual life and loyalties affected urbanism, processes and patterns of habitation. Some religious centers are used as example to explain this. The qualities of these centers, now sacred sites of visitation, are identified. The relationship between the peers of Islam to the country and the future teachers of Islam is emphasized. It is concluded that here was a paradoxical relationship between the migrant Arabs and the sedentary Nubians on the banks of the Nile, that is between nomadic lifestyles and urbanism. It needs to be emphasized that other factors that influence the development of urban centers, such as trade, agriculture, military and political issues. But the context is considered to be unique in terms of the large number of centers that did develop as religious centers initially. It is also acknowledged that while an urban center may have been initially a religious center, there were probably a combination of reasons that led to the establishment of the religious center in a particular location. To sum up, I would like to say that Sudanese Sufis' role could be observed in two major ways. Number one, or the first of these, is the addressing of the social problems. And here I would like to say that Sufis from early of times, they are experts, and because of their experience in dealing with the social issues that concerning the society, through different times they were trusted, and at the same time they played a very great role in mending and resolving the differences that already used to be erupted from time to time, either between an individual and individual, or between a tribe or another. This is from a side. And from another side, Sufi socially played the Sufi Sheikh played the role of the Mufti in that ancient time, and at the same time he is doing the job of a physician to some extent, and at the same time he is a source of education to the society in its very beginning. So different social functions and tasks that used to be played by Sufis from the very beginning of the arrival of Sufism to Sudan up to the present time. And the second major contribution of the Sufis is that, and it is an observable phenomena, that the establishment of many Sudanese cities and towns and villages are attributed to their own efforts. However, this is just an introduction to a series of subsequent episodes that targeting the social role that have been played and still doing by Sufis in the Sudan.